Welcome back to the Grim Workshop. Let's learn some urban survival skills. So we're going to be using these SERE cards, and the first card we're going to be learning to use is the lockpick hook card. So here you can see I have 6 different style of single pin lockpicks, and there's 2 tension wrenches as well. So I've got a standard tension wrench on top, and this bottom one is more designed to be used at the top of the keyway as opposed to the bottom. Now all 6 of these lockpicks primarily serve the same function. The reason that you need different style lockpicks is just because of the different types of keyways you're going to encounter. Now the bottom 3 picks, that's more of a diamond style, so you can use that to single pin pick. You can also use that to scrub a lock. So they're kind of multi-purpose, but primarily we're going to learn to single pin pick with them in this video. So this is like all the Grim cards. These are small enough to EDC. You can carry these in a credit card slot of your wallet. This back is adhesive, so you can just stick this to your toolbox or your briefcase or your lunchbox, whatever you happen to be carrying with you every day. And then you can just take these tools off. You can use them, you can practice with them, you can learn new skills with them. So when you're done with these tools, or this was not the pick that you needed for that particular lock, you can just put it back on the card, give it a press, and that tool retention system backer is going to hold that tool back in place until you need it next time. Your lockpick has to reach into the keyway, and you've got to be able to address each individual pin without disturbing the other pins. Now these pins are actually 2 pieces. There's a key pin and a driver pin. And when I press these up, you can see that little split there. So what happens is when you insert the key, it's going to lift the key pins up to the shear line. So what that shear line is that's the break between the 2 pins, and that's going to let it rotate. So as it rests, the driver pin is actually holding the lock shut, and if you push it past the shear line like I'm doing right here, the key pins are actually blocking the cylinder as well. So it's not going to turn if it's too high, it's not going to turn if it's too low. Each pin has to be lifted to the proper height. So you're going to actually have to feel these pins, because a normal lock you're not going to be able to see this. So you're going to be holding it kind of like this is how I usually hold it. You have to be free of the lock, and you have to be able to touch the pin without disturbing the pin in front or behind it. Now I can go through here and I can lift these pins all day long, but without a tension wrench you're never going to be able to actually pick a lock. You need the lock to be under tension and bind and set each pin individually. So here's a shot of the keyway, and you can see I'm going to be coming in here and going all the way to the back of the lock. You can go back to front, you can go front to back. I usually address each pin as I reach it. So I start at the front and go all the way to the back. Now I have 2 different style tension wrenches. This is the bottom of the keyway tension wrench, and it literally is what it sounds like. You're going to go to the bottom and you're just going to put a little rotation on it. Now the pressure on this, I'm putting about 1 finger pressure on here. If you push too hard, you're not going to be able to set any of the pins. So that's going to be your first indicator, is when you find a pin that's actually binding and you're not able to push it in, you're going to have to kind of alter your wrench tension a little bit. So there's our bottom, and here is the top of the keyway. So the top of the keyway tension wrench is going to go in to the top of the keyway and give you the whole bottom to work with. Here's the top of the keyway tension wrench, and you can see the amount of pressure I'm putting on it. I'm just flexing a little bit. So the principles behind picking a lock is there's only 1 pin that's going to be binding. The others are going to be free when it's under a forced rotation. So we can see here, if I go to pin number 1, pin number 1 moves, pin number 2 moves, there's pin number 3, there's pin number 4, pin number 5, and this has 6 pins in it. So they're all moving free, and when I put a little bit of rotation on it, one of them is going to be bound up. So it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 4, it's not 5, so let me go all the way back to 6, and 6 just set. So I actually felt the cylinder move a little bit. So if I let off tension, that spring is going to push it back down, it's going to unset, and I've got to start over again. So now I've got to go to pin 1. Let's try 2 now. Number 3 set. I got more movement. So now that we understand the principles of lock picking, here's our practice lock. We've got it all chucked up. Now I'm going to take my tension wrench and I'm just going to insert this in the bottom of the keyway. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to address the first pin, just like I showed you. Here's the second, third, okay, fourth. And I'm listening and I'm feeling. And there we go. So here's the side angle of the exact same thing. I'm going to put my tension wrench in the bottom of the keyway. Got fingertip pressure. And I'm just going to feel one pin, go to the next. And I'm just trying to push them up to the set line without oversetting them. And I think it overset that time. 2, 3, 4 still loose, 5 still loose. Okay, so everything's loose right now, and this lock isn't opening. So I'm going to go ahead and just relax this, and you can hear all the pins resetting. So I actually over-inserted one of the pins, and that's going to bind you up just like if it was locked. So I got a little heavy with that pin. So there's some trial and error to this, but this practice lock is definitely the easiest way to learn. This is the number 3 master lock, and this is pretty common. You see this laminated master lock pretty often, and it is not, there are easier locks to pick, but it's not that hard. So here's this number 3 all locked up, and I'm going to go ahead and attack this the same way. I'm going to tension bottom of the keyway. I'm going to come in with one of my single pin picks, and I'm just going to start feeling. There we go. Back up to the 1. I got 1 pin hanging. Okay. The lock pin hook card has a lot of different options, and that's all just going to depend on the type of lock you're picking, but definitely start out with one of these clear ones and then just start to progress. Now these are standard locks. There's no security pins in here. Security pins, they're going to pick the same way, but they're more difficult. So until you develop that feel, you are going to really struggle with any type of security pins. But these standard laminate master locks, they're pretty darn common. Once you can pick one of these, you can get through most problems.